Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Sarah Labrat. Something that really interests me is writing style and how authors either find or grow into their writing style. So today, we're experimenting with writing style. This book, called Exercises in Style by Raymond Queneau. I'm not totally sure how you pronounce that, but this book I got when I was studying abroad in college for a creative writing class, and one of our assignments was we had to use this book and like 3 or 4 of the styles in it to rewrite a few paragraphs of some of our own writing to explore the different examples of style included in this book. And because it has been like 3 years since that class and since I've done this exercise, and now that I'm doing the developmental edits and hopefully semi-soonish we'll be doing more like line and copy edits, I think that it is a very good time for me to practice my style and see if I come across anything that I would really want to include in my project DE. If you're interested in this book, because I'm not really sure how much I can share of it without getting in legal trouble, I have left a link for it down below to Amazon so that you can pick it up for yourself and do this same kind of exercise. So I'm gonna quick go through the layout of this book and then we'll get into talking about how I'm gonna use this to practice my own style. Exercises in Style basically includes 99 different examples of stylistic paragraphs, but paragraphs doesn't really cut it because some of them, I think one of them is like a sonnet, and so some of them are more poetic than paragraphs. But there are 99 different kinds of style included in this book. I don't know why they didn't just go for like an even 100, which kind of bugs me, but there are 99, at least when I counted. I kind of want to count again just to make sure that I'm not the one that was incorrect. 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. There's still 99. Still frustrates me. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the back of the book so you guys can hopefully understand a little bit more about what this book is about. On a crowded bus at midday, Raymond Queneau observes one man accusing another of jostling him deliberately. When a seat is vacated, the first man appropriates it. Later, in another part of the town, Queneau sees the man being advised by a friend to sew another button on his overcoat. Exercises in Style retells this unexceptional tale 99 times, so I was not counting wrong. It is 99 times. Employing the sonnet and the Alexandrine, the French and Cockney, an abusive chapter heartily deplores the events. Opera English lends them grandeur. In 1947, when Exercises in Style first appeared in French, it led to Queneau's, I should have known from the last name, it led to Queneau's election to the highly prestigious Académie Goncourt. No idea if I pronounced that right. My 1 year of college French is failing me. He once told Barbara Wright that of all of his books, this was the one he most wished to see translated. He rendered her his heartiest congratulations, adding, "I have always thought that nothing is translatable. Here is new proof, and it is accomplished with all the intended humor. It has not only linguistic knowledge and ingenuity, it also has that." So basically, his two, what he calls unexceptional stories about one man accusing another man of jostling him deliberately on a bus, and in another part of town, him seeing a man being advised by a friend to sew a new button on his overcoat. Those two stories are rewritten, each in a paragraph, so each chapter essentially has 2 paragraphs, one for each story. So we're gonna look at the philosophic, for example, because that lays nicely on the pages, but basically this first paragraph is about the first story, and then the second paragraph is how he wrote the second story using that writing style. And so what we're gonna do is I chose a paragraph from my novel, my project DE, and we are going to choose 3 of these exercises in style, and I'm gonna rewrite my paragraph using these styles. And then I will read my original paragraph, and then each of my paragraphs rewritten in these styles to better explore different author writing styles. So now for the original paragraph that I will be rewriting in 3 different kinds of styles. When she hit the main part of the castle, the hallways opened up to show the brilliance and wealth of the kingdom. Turning to walk along the southern-facing wall of the castle, the curtains blowing gently in the wind, Caden looked out over the harbor where ships were sailing in and out, a show of the wealth and prosperity of the kingdom. She stopped for a moment to watch the large trading ships docking. She wondered where each ship had come from, and for the ones that were leaving, what far-off shores they were headed for. So it's a very expositional paragraph that's just talking a lot about the world building and my character who just got to this castle. This is the paragraph I'm going to work with because it doesn't give too much away about the story, but I think has enough in it that in working with my style, I will be able to change enough in each of the examples so that it's clear enough that I made changes instead of just altering a few words. All right, so as I've been flipping through this book and reading some of the examples, the first one that I came across that I want to do is called Retrograde. And so this is the 2 stories rewritten in this style of Retrograde. You ought to put another button on your overcoat, his friend told him. I met him in the middle of the Cour de Rome after having left him rushing avidly towards a seat. He had just protested against being pushed by another passenger who, he said, was jostling him every time anyone got off. The scraggy young man was the wearer of a ridiculous hat. This took place on the platform of an S bus, which was full that particular midday. So basically told the story in reverse, and I think that that's really interesting. I don't think that this is something that I'm going to keep in this story for this paragraph example that I'm working on, but I do want to tell it backwards because that sounds interesting. So that's what we're going to do first. So Retrograde went pretty well. It's actually a really interesting way of writing things backwards, essentially, and I was thinking about it, and I think that this would be a really interesting way to tell a story. Not the one I'm currently writing, but that there could be a lot of surprise and intrigue with writing something completely backwards, where you essentially actually write the ending first and then move as you're writing back towards the beginning. I don't know. I really thought that this was interesting, and so here's how this went for me. She wondered where each ship had come from, and for the ones that were leaving, what far off shores they were headed for. She had stopped for a moment to watch the large trading ships docking after turning to walk along the southern-facing wall of the castle. The curtains blew gently in the wind as she had passed them to look out over the harbor where the ships were sailing in and out, a show of the wealth and prosperity of the kingdom. She had stood there. When she hit the main part of the castle, the hallways opened up to show the brilliance and wealth of the kingdom. Interesting. I like it. I think it's cool. I don't think that this is like what is right for this chapter especially, or even this book, but an interesting concept. Something to consider. The next style that I want to attempt is called notation. And so here is the example given to us by this author. In the S-bus in the rush hour, a chap of about 26, felt hat with a cord instead of a ribbon, neck too long as if someone's been having a tug of war with it. People getting off. The chap in question gets annoyed with one of the men standing next to him. He accuses him of jostling him every time anyone goes past, a sniveling tone which is meant to be aggressive. When he sees a vacant seat, he throws himself onto it. 2 hours later, I met him at the Cour de Rome in front of the Gare Saint-Lazare. He's with a friend who's saying you ought to get an extra button put on your overcoat. He shows him where, at the lapels, and why. This one just seems to have a lot of like commas and pauses and like explanations to it, is how I would describe this writing style. And so now, of course, I get to try and attempt this. My dad is now leaf blowing, so I hope that that does not affect the audio, but that was an interesting experiment for me. I noticed that I added more information because I got more space to, essentially. And also, my first sentence might have been a run-on, but I feel like that's kind of how the notation style works. Not necessarily, that's not how it worked in this book, but that's how it seemed to work out for me. Obviously, I am doing this kind of quickly and not really looking over them much after I've written it the first time because I don't want to like dwell on them. This is all an experiment for me. So, for the notation style, here's how my paragraph went. When she hit the main part of the castle, the part where the hallways opened up to show the brilliance and the wealth of the kingdom, she turned to walk along the southern-facing wall of the castle. The curtains blew gently in the wind. Caden looked out over the harbor, where ships were sailing in and out, a show of the wealth and prosperity of the kingdom with their billowing sails and lavish goods they carried. She stopped for a moment to watch the large trading ships as they docked. She watched as ropes were swung to the docksmen as the ships were tied down. She wondered where each ship had come from, what goods or people they carried, and for the ones that were leaving, what far off shores they were headed for, what they would visit, and what they would carry. So that was notation. I did feel like I could add a lot more information using that, which is interesting. And I wonder how much of that I could actually get away with without calling it info dumping. The next and last style for this video that I'm going to try is called negatives. I'm really excited about this one because it's very different than what I write, because this is obviously not something that I can do in like the fantasy genre. But let me read to you what example is in this book. Negatives. It was neither a boat nor an airplane, but a terrestrial means of transport. It was neither the morning nor the evening, but midday. It was neither a baby nor an old man, but a young man. It was neither a ribbon nor a string, but a plaited cord. It was neither a procession nor a brawl, but a scuffle. It was neither a pleasant person nor an evil person, but a bad-tempered person. It was neither a truth nor a lie, but a pretext. It was neither a standing person nor a recumbent person, but a would-be seated person. It was neither the day before nor the day after, but the same day. It was neither the Gare du Nord nor the Gare de Pilem, but the Gare Saint-Lazare. It was neither a relation nor a stranger, but a friend. It was neither an insult nor ridicule, but tutorial advice. So just like interesting. And so I'm very excited about trying this one. This was interesting. By far the most fun of the 3 that I've done today. Before I say anything else, here's the paragraph that I wrote for the negatives style. It was neither the throne room nor the dining hall, but the main part of the castle. It was neither west nor east, but the southern facing wall. The curtains were neither whipping around it or hanging stale, but blowing gently. Caden neither looked out over the city nor the cliffs, but out over the harbor where ships were sailing in and out. The boats were not small nor dainty, but large, showing the prosperity and wealth of the kingdom. She neither kept walking nor didn't look, but stopped for a moment to watch. She neither wondered why they were there, nor why they were stopping, but wondered where each ship had come from, and for the ones that were leaving, what far off shores they were headed for. So, interesting. Just a very different style to like my original paragraph from draft 2 of my book, but I don't know, this was an interesting experiment. And ultimately I'm doing these to learn better what best suits my writing, and my writing will not be as extreme as some of these examples, but could include like a little notation, a little retrograde, a little negatives, or a little bit of some of the other styles listed in this book. My intention for doing this video, and for videos like this that I will do in the future, because there are 99 of these, and so I will probably not do all 99, but I will do some more of these because I really enjoyed making them. And there are some of these styles that I'm not at all interested in, but I do want to try a lot of these, or ones that just would not fit in this story or work for like rewriting this kind of paragraph, but I am really interested in doing more of these, and so if you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up because I will be making more, so I really hope you like this video. If you choose to try out any of these styles that I mentioned today, leave a comment down below that you either tried them or include the passage that you tried it on because I would love to read them. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking, commenting, and subscribing because I will likely be making several more of these videos to further explore my own writing style. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sarah Labrat, but if you give this video a thumbs up, thank you so much. It really supports my channel because it helps tell the YouTube algorithm that you liked my video and that someone else might too. And while you're at it, if you are subscribed, thank you so much. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. If you are not subscribed, however, we are almost at 1,000 subscribers, and so I'd really appreciate it if you would hit that big red subscribe button and the little bell notification next to it because I have some really fun videos planned and coming your way. And so make sure you do those 2 things so that you don't miss another one of my videos. I post twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays, and so I will see you guys next week with another video. Bye!